I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Howard, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Amiditz?
Here.
Mrs. Buckley?
Here.
Dr. Campbell?
Here.
Mrs. Cook?
Here.
Mrs. Dovis?
Here.
Mr. Means?
Present.
Mrs. Rule?
Here.
Mr. Schubel?
Present.
Mr. Spacuzza?
Present.
We have all 9 members present this evening.
Thank you, sir. It's not every day that a school district earns statewide recognition, but tonight I am pleased to announce that one of our principals, Bethel Park High School principal, Dr. Jeb Jansanti, I always stumble over those two names together. They just don't, I like Dr. J, was named the 2014 Pennsylvania High School Principal of the Year by the Pennsylvania Association of Elementary and Secondary School Principals. Dr. Jansanti has been the Bethel Park High School principal since 2006, and we are pleased that he was able to bring this outstanding recognition not only upon himself, but also upon our school district. Thank you, Dr. J, for shining a positive light on the district through this great honor. Dr. J. Dr. J received his award on Sunday night at an awards dinner that was held at the Sheraton Hotel in Station Square. Mrs. Dobus and I were honored to be among the rather large contingency of Bethel Park faithful that were on hand to congratulate him for receiving this outstanding recognition. At this time, Dr. J, would you join me at the podium? I'm going to read it. Certificate of Recognition. The Bethel Park School District recognizes and appreciates the outstanding accomplishments and contributions of Bethel Park High School Principal, Dr. Zeb Jansanti, as the 2014 Pennsylvania Principal of the Year. Thank you for being an outstanding representative of our school district.
Thank you so much.
Would you like to say?
Yeah, I'll say real quick. First, I'd like to thank our school board for really providing an opportunity and believing in me 8 years ago with the hire and bringing me from Mount Lebanon to here. It's been a great ride. I've been able to work closely with a very strong administrative team. Central office has been outstanding. Our high school principals, staff, faculty, and of course our students and community and parents are just fantastic. So all those things add up to this award. It's not about me. It's really about the people that I work with, and those folks really deserve the award. So thank you. I'll accept it on behalf of all the great people in Bethel Park. Thank you.
And stay right there for a minute, because it's also my pleasure to welcome State Senator and Bethel Park High School graduate Matt Smith and our long-standing State Representative John Marr to the community room this evening. Both of these gentlemen have a presentation for Dr. J as well.
You really don't go far. The honor of being named Principal of the Year, Dr. J, is obviously, we have 500 school districts in Pennsylvania and probably about 6,000 principals. So this is really a distinguished award. And it not just reflects on what you've accomplished here in Bethel Park, and certainly you forgot to thank the contractors that you spent a fair amount of time with. But it really does bring a statewide spotlight on all the good things that are happening here in Bethel Park School District. Now, on behalf of the House of Representatives and on behalf of Representative Rick Saccone, who was not able to be here with us this evening, but Representative Saccone and I have sponsored a citation from the House of Representatives further recognizing your good work and saluting your accomplishment as Principal of the Year.
Thank you.
So congratulations.
And also, it's an honor for me to recognize Dr. Jan Santini. That's not an easy name for a guy named Smith to say. I should add, but Representative Marr said it all. It's an honor for us to present these citations, mine on behalf of the Senate, to Dr. Jan Santini, and recognize such a great achievement. And as Representative Marr said, something that brings the spotlight on a wonderful world-class school district like Bethel Park. I'm a little biased in that I was a graduate of 1991, a few years back, of Bethel, and it really is an honor for me as an alumni to present this award to Dr. J.
The board is also pleased this evening to be able to recognize a Bethel Park High School student for performing a most heroic act. On Tuesday, October 7th, a house caught fire on McPherson Avenue near Neil Armstrong Middle School. Inside the house lived an elderly woman who was having difficulty opening her garage door to escape from the flames that were shooting up behind her. Bethel Park High School senior Reno Young saw her struggle, ran to the garage, lifted the garage door, and carried the woman, who by that time was unable to walk, down her driveway to safety. He then went back into the garage and pulled 10 to 15 oxygen tanks from the garage before they could explode, causing further damage to the home. Because of Reno's heroic efforts, the woman was transferred to the hospital in stable condition, only suffering from smoke inhalation and a burn to her arm. Certainly, her condition could have been much worse had it not been for the timely intervention of Reno Young. At this time, please join me in thanking Bethel Park High School senior Reno Young for his act of bravery to save his neighbor's life. School Board of Directors officially proclaims Reno Young a Bethel Park School District Goodwill Ambassador in recognition of the pride you have brought to your school district and community by displaying bravery and good citizenship to rescue a neighbor from her burning house. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Do you want to say anything? And it's a pleasure once again for Senator Matt Smith, and also is Hannah here this evening from Rick Saccone's office? She's here. Okay, who are also here to congratulate Reno on his extraordinary.
Yeah, you know it's a special night when you were able to present two of these state Senate and state House citations to special accomplishments in Bethel. And Reno's accomplishment, I had the chance to meet him a few weeks ago, really says all you need to know about what a young man he is. He saw the danger, saw the smoke, saw the trouble that a Bethel resident was in, and a lot of people in that situation might call 911 or keep driving. Reno decided to take matters into his own hands and actually help a fellow citizen in need himself, and not wait for someone else to come. And I think that's a wonderful testament to Reno. It's a wonderful testament to those of us who live in the South Hills, particularly in Bethel Park, and what a special community this is, that one neighbor helps another neighbor in need. And Reno literally could have ended up saving someone's life, and that is something that you should be very proud of, and we should all be very proud of, that we have young men and women, and young men in this instance, like Reno in our community. So it's an honor to be able to present a state Senate citation, and then Representative Marr is going to present a state House citation as well. But really an honor to be able to tell all of my colleagues in the state Senate about this wonderful, wonderful accomplishment in our community. So thank you.
Too often, our evening news is filled celebrate that enough. These are things that deserve to be remembered and repeated because every time it sets an example for others in the community to be inspired. And so Reno, on behalf of the House of Representatives, on behalf of Representative Saccone, who would have liked to have been here this evening, I wish to say thank you. Thank you for setting a fine example and being a darn good neighbor who happens to be very brave.
He said he's used to the paparazzi.
Again, I love starting the meetings with these wonderful stories. Nancy, I think you're going to continue with another presentation?
Yes, it was my pleasure to attend the Bethel Park Chamber of Commerce Shine Awards dinner on Thursday, October 16th. I was there, of course, to support Reno Young and Colin McCormick, one of our middle school students who were being awarded along with Dr. Jen Santee. Much to my pleasure and surprise, though, the Bethel Park School District was also given an honor that evening as a business that has served the Bethel Park community for 50-plus years. I want to acknowledge that award publicly this evening and provide Chamber Executive Director Connie Rule with an opportunity to present the award directly to the entire board. So with that, Mrs. Rule and Mrs. Cook, would you stand and do the honors? Get out of your way here. You can stay right here. We're in the shadow.
How to do this. I'm trying to do it both ways, but if I read crooked, I apologize in advance. Last month, school board president Donna Cook's mother, Rose Walker, passed away. She was a devoted wife, mother, and grandmother. We enjoyed spending her time with her family, cooking, baking, crafting, and taking care of her two grandsons, Tyler and Cole. We know how devoted you were to your mother. What a great loss her passing is for you and your family. In her memory, Bethel Park Board of School Directors would like to dedicate 2 books in her memory. The first book is Cooking with Grandma by Rosa Masnick. That will be placed in the William Penn Elementary School Library in honor of Tyler. Attendance there. Tyler's attendance there as an elementary student. The other book is Grandma's Book of Promises by Karen Hill. That will be placed in the Washington Elementary School in honor of Colin's attendance there as an elementary student. These books embody what your mother meant to your children, and hope that your children who read and enjoy these books will also generate the same positive feeling and memories for your grandmother, for their grandmothers, as your children have enjoyed all these years for your grandmother. Donna, please join me at the podium. It is my pleasure to present Grandma's Book of Promises to you on behalf of the colleagues on the board. Cooking with Grandma's on back order, of course, and we'll revive next week. We will make sure you have a chance to review the book before we donate it to William Penn. Would you like to say a few words? Or would you like to miss it?
I'd like to sit down.
Earlier this month, Director Connie Rule's sister, Bernadette Talarico, passed away. Like Connie, Bernadette loved education, having taught at Quaker Valley School District for over 32 years. It was also our understanding that your sister had a great fondness for horses and dogs. I don't know how you go wrong with that. Connie, it's the board's pleasure to donate 2 books to the Memorial Elementary School Library in memory of your sister. The first being Black Beauty, as retold by Anne Sewell, originally by Lisa Church. And this is my favorite title of all time. This book ate my dog. Richard Garner. The books will not only be dedicated in memory of your sister, but will also be the honor of your two granddaughters. Memorial School second grader Shayla Miller and her sister Memorial Kindergarten student Lila Miller, who I understand usually was especially loved by Aunt Bernie. It is our hope that the children who read these books will not only enjoy them, but also develop a love for animals and reading. Connie, would you please join me at the podium to accept these two books on behalf of the board? You want to do separately or do you? You should give me a bigger book. And I'll ask you also if you'd like to say a few words. Thank you.
Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda this evening?
Ms. Cook?
Yes, Mr.
We have,
Amidon.
under other number 1, the board will only be moving student number 002578.
Thank you. Any other additions or corrections? I need an intent to adopt the agenda as corrected.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 9-0. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of September 23rd, 2014.
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 9-0. I need to announce executive sessions held October 9th, 2014 for personnel, other legal matters, and to receive information. October 21st, 2014 for personnel, other legal matters, and to receive information. And October 28th, 2014 for personnel, other legal matters, and to receive information. Nancy?
Yes. To the board and to the community, I'd like to address a situation. While we never discuss individual student issues in public or at a public meeting, I'd like to address a growing concern. We've celebrated a lot of good news here tonight, and that's typically what we believe to be true about our district. There are so many wonderful things happening. But last week, I sent out a letter to community families conveying my dismay and regret about recent incidents in our district and asking for the support for our schools. The letter is posted on our website if you've missed it. I want to go on the record as saying that bullying and harassment in any form and at any level of our district is simply intolerable, and it has no place in our schools. Each child in this community has the right to fully enjoy the educational and extracurricular opportunities available in the district without fear and without harassment. To that end, the district is taking specific steps to ensure that we are addressing each incident with a firm and consistent response. We are approaching this head-on, and we've reached out to the University of Pittsburgh Center on Race and Social Problems, as well as other resources in our community to improve our awareness, our understanding, and our response. We know that bullying and harassment in any form is damaging to individuals. A lack of civility has precipitated many of the incidents of school violence across our country. These types of incidents do not reflect our Bethel Park community as a whole. However, it's imperative that when they occur, we face them as a community. We do need your help. Every family should be having this courageous conversation with their children. Children can help take responsibility for their own safety and the safety of others by not participating in and not condoning bullying, or harassing behavior. Children can also help by reporting inappropriate behavior to trusted adults, with the assurance that their concerns will be heard. In the next few days, we will be publishing information about a community coalition that we will convene to address issues of diversity and acceptance of all students in our schools. I'm encouraging parents of K-12 students, as well as staff members who are interested in being a part of the solution, to participate. Please watch our website for details about the date and time. Thank you for allowing me this moment.
Staff report, and Dr. Stark.
Okay, we are only 2 months into the school year, and I'm happy to report that we have a very lengthy list of good news items this evening. Last month, we announced that the district had 3 seniors who were named National Merit Scholarship semifinalists. This month, I'm pleased to announce that 5 of our high school seniors have been named commended students by the National Merit Scholarship Corporation. They are Joseph Beaver, Aaron Coplin, Alexander Fleming, Jessica George, and Giffen Werner. Being named a commended student means that they were among the top 50,000 scorers on the PSAT, which they took last fall as juniors. And while their PSAT scores were not high enough to place them in the semifinalist category, the National Merit Scholarship Corporation believes they should be commended for outstanding academic achievement, and we do too. Congratulations to these 5 outstanding students. I'm also pleased to announce that 30 Bethel Park High School students have been named Advanced Placement Scholars by the College Board in recognition of their outstanding scores on AP exams, which they took last spring at Bethel Park High School. 2 students were named National AP Scholars. They are 2014 graduates Jarrett Single and Christian Hoke. They earned this distinction by receiving an average score of at least 4 on all AP exams taken, with scores of 4 or higher on 8 or more of the exams. 7 students were named AP Scholars with distinction for earning an average score of 3.5 on all AP exams taken, with scores of 3 or higher on 5 or more exams. Our AP Scholars with distinction are 2014 graduates Jonathan Anashenko, Kevin Fleischman, Haley Lazari, Ryan Matthews, Logan Tewitt, as well as seniors Stephen Davis and Aditya Krishnashand. 12 students were named AP Scholars with honor for earning an average score of at least 3.25 on all AP exams taken, with scores of 3 or higher on 4 or more exams. Congratulations to 2014 graduates Benjamin Brownfield, Jamie Kavrak, Stephen Everard, Rachel Gaddis, Jason Harnack, Victoria Jakasic, Benjamin Moscato, Kaylee Poe, Rachel Unger, Liam Wolf, and seniors Adam Ackerman and Sean Becker. 9 students were named AP Scholars for earning scores of 3 or higher on 3 or more AP exams. Our AP Scholars are 2014 graduates Katarina Kimes, Richard Pfeiffer, Michael Stevenson, Sean Varley, and seniors Amrita Bodine, Joseph Beaver, Adam Montgomery, Kelly Tamburo, and Giffen Werner. All of these students will be able to earn college credit, accelerated placement, or both because of the outstanding work they have done in high school. Congratulations go to the staff of Hawkeye, the Bethel Park High School student-produced online newspaper, for earning 29 awards, including 4 gold, 13 silver, and 12 bronze awards from the Pennsylvania School Press Association's 2014 Summer Newspaper Contest. The publication also earned a silver award. Congratulations to 2014 Chris Geikler, Aaron Modrek, Zach Laufer, that is 2014 graduates. Chris Geikler, Aaron Modrak, Zach Laufer, Luke Hatfield, Katie Zulkowski, and Adam Larson. Senior Paul Dunn, Junior Claire Makowski, and sophomores Michael Musciano and Santino Bonacorsi. 11 Bethel Park High School juniors successfully applied for acceptance into the Westinghouse Science Honors Institute and will participate in a series of Saturday morning lectures about current science topics and have an opportunity to tour the nuclear reactor at Penn State. Congratulations to Julia Angotti, Adela Ankowiak, Sarah Amato, Jefferson Belback, Brandon Brown, Joshua Kimes, Macy McKittrick, Akil Rasha Sikar, Emily Russell, Maria Vighetti, and Carl Zazak. 31 Bethel Park High School students have successfully applied for and were selected to participate this school year in apprenticeship programs sponsored by the Allegheny Intermediate Unit. The following students will be getting hands-on experience with local professionals to help them with career preparation. Tarush Ball, Megan Barr, Jefferson Belback, Madeline Boucher, Bryce Carter, Natalia Georgievic, Walter Donnellan, Sarah Iben, Caitlin Ellsworth, Francesca Gallietta, Macy Hall, Matthew Harney, Amelia Hastings, Evan Hostutler, Annalise Hudson, Kathy Jameson, Carolyn Kerr, Kristen Kohler, Zachary Kraska, Taylor McGurk Manarino, Macy McKittrick, Shannon Musser, Michael Musciano, Jordan Myers, Joseph Nagel, Daniel Cedar Franchak, Jody Schaefer, Kelsey Tischler, Joseph Wasco, Natalia Young, and Zach Zerby. 13 Bethel Park High School musicians have successfully auditioned and have been selected to play in the Pennsylvania Music Educators Association's Honors Band Concert, which will be held on Sunday, November 3rd at the Carnegie Music Hall in Oakland. Representing Bethel Park in this event will be Joe Beaver, Chris Bright, Emma Davin, Alex DeRose, Daniel Galise, Carolyn Greiner, Austin Habishaw, Rachel Kinlan, Corey Kroboth, Macy McKittrick, Matea Pranjic, David Ullman, and Joe Wasco. Bethel Park High School seniors Athena Kalogeris and Matea Pranjic were named the September Students of the Month by the Rotary Club of Bethel Park. Each month during the school year, the Rotary Club honors Bethel Park High School students for their outstanding contributions to school and/or community. Besides serving as this year's homecoming co-chairs, both students are active in school. Athena is a member of the girls' soccer team, student government, and National Honor Society. Matea is also a member of the Student Government Association and National Honor Society, as well as the German Club and Bethettes. Set your DVRs because you won't want to miss the Bethel Park High School hometown high-Q team of Jack Brownfield, Max Reese, and Billy DePudeloff as they defeat teams from North Allegheny and Fox Chapel in the first round of KDKA TV's hometown high-Q quiz program to advance to the playoffs in the spring. Their episode will air on Saturday, November 1st at 11 a.m. and be rebroadcast on Saturday, November 8th at 11:30 a.m. Way to go to our team. Earlier this month, Bethel Park High School participated in a friendly competition with Mount Lebanon High School to see which school could get the most students to take Allstate's X the Text pledge. Allstate brought its Reality Rides driving simulator to both schools to give students the opportunity to see what happens behind the wheel when you text and drive. Students sat in a car that was equipped with virtual reality technology to take the challenge. Bethel Park Police Officer Tom Rigatti observed the students' performances behind the wheel and was there to issue fake traffic tickets to show them what they would be facing if they were pulled over for texting and driving. The school that had the most students take the pledge was awarded $4,500 by Allstate at the Bethel Park Mount Lebanon football game. Bethel Park won the X the Text challenge and $4,500, and 4 students also won $250 gift cards from Allstate for posting their selfies with the X the Text banner onto Allstate's Facebook page. Congratulations to students Greg Duane, Zach Fullerton, Carolyn Hancock, and Bailey Lawrence, who got the most likes on Facebook for their X the Text photos. Thank you also goes to Allstate for providing this important lesson to our students. The Bethel Park Chamber of Commerce presented certificates of appreciation to 2 Bethel Park students at the 2014 Shine Awards dinner last week at the Crowne Plaza Hotel. Bethel Park High School senior Reno Young was recognized for his heroics to pull his elderly neighbor from her burning house. And Neil Armstrong Middle School sixth grader Colin McCormick was recognized for coordinating a year-long pop-tab collection in Franklin Elementary School that netted over 278,000 pop-tabs for the Ronald McDonald House. Thank you, Reno and Colin, for putting others ahead of yourself. By the end of this month, all Neil Armstrong Middle School 5th and 6th graders will have their own Chromebooks to use in their classrooms, thanks to the efforts of Technology Director Ron Ryer and his staff. The students will also have their own headphones to use with their Chromebooks, thanks to a generous donation from the Pittsburgh Penguins and Everfit, through a grant obtained by Neil Armstrong Principal Michael Brookie, Administrative Intern Joe Rossi, and Director of Secondary Education Janet O'Rourke. Neil Armstrong teachers were recently trained by Everfit how to use the Teacher Response Center on their Chromebooks and how their students can use Everfit's Ignition program to learn about a variety of topics, including how to be good digital citizens, how to correctly cite internet materials they use for research, good texting practices, and careers in technology, to name a few. Neil Armstrong sixth graders decorated over 110 paper plates and sent them to the Greater Pittsburgh Food Bank as part of the Paper Plate Project. The students were asked to decorate the paper plates with messages about the importance of helping the hungry. Some of the students' messages included, "No one is ever supposed to be hungry," "Help end world hunger," "Feed everyone," and how would you feel if it was you? The plates will be sent by the food bank to members of Congress who serve on key committees that impact nutrition programs, such as the National School Lunch Program, to help them to understand the importance of making sure people are provided with good, nutritious food. Neil Armstrong sixth grade teacher Laura Zupan coordinated this project. The Rotary Club of Bethel Park once again generously donated a copy of a student's dictionary to every Bethel Park third grade student. These dictionaries are not classroom sets, rather they are the students' own personal copies. These dictionaries will come in handy as our third graders begin to study for the upcoming third annual Bethel Park Rotary third grade spelling bee. Thank you, Rotarians, for your continued generosity. The grounds at William Penn Elementary School are beautiful, thanks to the help of two community groups. First, the members of Cub Scout Pack 600 and their families did a fantastic job of cleaning up the grounds around the school. Thank you to Scouts Garrett Lindsay, George Danchik, Austin Schweitzer, Josh Sanizer, Jeremy Blockland, Ethan Quinn, TJ Edkins, and Sean McGowan. Then a group of 15 to 20 adults from the New Song Community Church spent one of their monthly Church Without Walls Sundays at Penn, clearing the overgrown brush and debris from one of the school's evacuation paths. Thanks to both organizations for helping to make William Penn a more beautiful and safer place. As you heard earlier this evening, Bethel Park High School Principal Dr. Zeb Gensanti was named the 2014 High School Principal of the Year by the Pennsylvania Association of Elementary and Secondary School Principals. He was presented with this award at a dinner that was held on October 19th at the Sheraton Station Square. Providing the entertainment for the evening were the members of the Bethel Park High School Orchestra under the direction of Stephanie Glover. Congratulations, Dr. J, and thanks to the orchestra students for sharing their musical talents with the dinner attendees. 3 Bethel Park educators were among a group of 64 educators from 20 Allegheny County school districts to receive the 2014 Champions of Change Award, sponsored by the Allegheny Intermediate Unit and Common Sense Media. Receiving these awards were Bethel Park High School physics teacher Lee Cristofano, Independence Middle School principal David Minch, and Director of Technology Ron Ryer. The awards are given to exceptional educators whose creative approaches in using technology to enhance learning serves as an example for what is strived for in every classroom. Mr. Cristofano was recognized for his efforts to secure 2 GoPro camera grants for his physics students and for his work with the Big Data Project last school year that showed students how big data can be used in a variety of ways to help drive informed decisions. Mr. Mensch and Mr. Ryer were recognized for their efforts to successfully roll out the district's one-to-one technology initiative, which placed Chromebook computers into the hands of all Independence Middle School 7th and 8th graders this year, as well as the continued rollout of the Chromebooks to students in grades 3 through 12. All three gentlemen were very deserving of this county-wide recognition. The Bethel Park High School Drama Club is excited to present Peter Pan at this year's fall play, Thursday and Friday, November 13 and 14 at 7:30 p.m. and Saturday, November 15th at 2 p.m. at the Bethel Park High School Auditorium. Tickets are $5 and can be purchased at the door before each performance. But you can also purchase yours in advance at the high school on Thursday, November 6th, Friday, November 7th, Monday, November 10th, and Tuesday, November 11th from 9 to 11 a.m. Attendees at the Saturday matinee will have the opportunity to meet and take photos with the characters following the performance. Join the students on their journey to Neverland to see you all at the fall play. You have until Friday, October 31st to submit your nominations for the Bethel Park High School Great Alumni Hall of Fame. Please take the time to tell us about the Bethel Park High School graduate you think has made valuable contributions to society, either professionally or through community service. Applications are available on the BPHS alumni webpage. Awardees will be honored in January. Before I conclude my report this evening, I would also like to announce, since he is in the audience with us, that Bethel Park High School graduate and current high school forensic team coach for the policy debate event, John Maslin, has been elected one of 2 vice presidents of the Pennsylvania Speech and Debate Association. Congratulations, John, and thank you for the work you are doing with our forensics and mock trial team members. Before I truly conclude my report, if I have any voice left, this is not an item of good news, but I am compelled to share it anyway. Janet O'Rourke and I had prepared a striking presentation for all of you regarding our student performance of 2013-14. We were all set to prepare it for you and present it to you tonight. And the Department of Education in Pennsylvania has once again pulled back for the 3rd time the SPP numbers, that's school performance profile numbers. Something about airplanes and runways. And when we have the SPP numbers, we will be very happy to bring our presentation to you, but for this evening, we have to beg your indulgence. We do not have those numbers. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. No one's here from student government this evening, looks like. PTA, PTO Council, anybody here? Yes?
Hi, my name is Dawn Hughes, and I am the co-president at George Washington Elementary. First up, we have IMS. IMS is gearing up for the annual IMS Craft and Vendor Show. The show is being held on Saturday, November 29th from 9 to 3 p.m. in the IMS cafeteria. Vendors or volunteers should contact Rayanne D. Baker for more information. Her contact information and other information can be found on the IMS PTSO website, which is ims.ptso.org. Next is Memorial Elementary. The PTA membership is right at 150 members, and the PTA made over $2,700 on the Kids Stuff Foundation, which was recently held. The 4th grade class had a bonfire night at Stevens Farm. Lots of fun and many memories were made by all. Kindergarten, 2nd, and 4th grade students all got free ID cards thanks to Officer Gaddy. Next is George Washington Elementary. The students celebrated Red Ribbon Week last week by making heart pledges to love yourself and be drug-free. The fall fundraiser concludes tomorrow, October 29th, and the students will receive a magic show assembly in May for selling their items. On Friday, the students will celebrate Halloween with classroom parties and a parade. And next week, during parent-teacher conferences, the PTO is sponsoring a teacher appreciation dinner. Next, William Penn. William Penn had their first PTO meeting on September 22nd and had a fiesta night meet and greet before the meeting started. The PTO served chips, salsa, and beverages. There was a large turnout, and they got to know a few new parents. William Penn's rummage sale, held on Saturday, September 27th, did very well for their first year. The PTO plans on doing another one next year. The PTO kicked off their character trait education program this year by asking all students to wear a special color that coordinates with the trait of the month. This month's trait is independence, and the corresponding color is orange. The students wore orange on Friday, October 3rd to show their independence. This year, the William Penn PTO bought every student a shirt. The shirts are orange with black lettering that say William Penn Elementary and a black hawk on the front with Go Hawks on the back. The students wore their shirts on October 24th to celebrate Spirit Day. William Penn's Fall Festival was held on October 3rd. Due to the rain, the event had to move everything inside. The night was filled with a bounce house and games. The fourth grade activities committee provided foods such as pulled pork sandwiches, hot dogs, or hand-breaded chicken tenders. That night was from Salvatore's Banquets and Catering. All meals came with a bag of chips. The PTO asked that the kids bring a non-perishable food item to exchange for a pumpkin to decorate. The kids provided the Shim Pantry with 188 pounds of food that night. The fourth grade activities planned a hayride and bonfire at Simmons Farm on October 14th. For the fourth graders, William Penn had a movie night on Friday, October 17th and showed the Lego movie. The William Penn PTO held its fall scholastic book fair from October 20th to 24th. The William Penn PTO donated a basket for the best costume contest for boys ages 6 to 9 to the Joey Davis Halloween Bash that was held on October 26th. Next, we have Abraham Lincoln. Thank you to all the families who came out to the Fall Festival. They had a great night enjoying the company of their friends while playing both outside and inside. A big thank you to all the fourth grade families who donated to the raffle baskets and either organized or volunteered for the Fall Festival. The event would not have been as successful if you did not contribute your time and efforts for the fourth graders. Lincoln recently held their fall book fair. A special thank you to Mrs. Paz and Sarah Hughes for all their work and organization of the book fair. Also, thank you for all the volunteers for helping make the fall book fair such a success. Lincoln Elementary thrives because of their dedicated teachers. Tuesday, November 4th, the PTO is hosting dinner for all the teachers on the eve of the parent-teacher conferences. Students have been busy in class creating a unique piece of art for the PTO's upcoming Original Works of Art fundraiser. The PTO would like to thank all of the Lincoln teachers in helping to get the students' artwork completed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As always, wonderful activities for our students and families. Solicitor's report.
I've submitted a written report to the board.
Thank you, sir. Committee reports. We had facilities
We
meeting.
did have a facilities committee meeting
Any
on the 9th.
update there, Russ?
I think we will probably talk about it when we
As
get to
we
that
get to
portion
that.
of the agenda.
Okay. Any public comments this evening on agenda items only? Seeing none, we'll move into business items. Curriculum Committee and Mrs. Buckley.
Thank you, Mrs. Cook. There are 3 items this evening under the Curriculum Committee. Would any like any held out? Hearing none, I move number 1, the approval of curricula, number 2, mid-year graduation, and number 3, school-sponsored overnight educational activities.
Second.
Items 1 through 3 under Curriculum Committee have been moved by Mrs. Buckley and seconded by Mr. Means. Any questions or comments on any of these items? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those items carry 9-0. Personnel Committee and Mrs. Rule.
There are 9 items under personnel. Are there any that anyone would like to have held out? If not, I move that item 1, approval of substitutes, item 2, approval of extra duty responsibility program, 3, change of leave of absence return date, 4, acceptance of resignations, 5, appointment of personnel, 6, approval of salary adjustment, 7, approval of 2014-2015 salaries for administrative support staff, 8, change of status, and 9, special education paraprofessional hours.
I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Items 1 through 9 under Personnel Committee have been moved by Mrs. Rule and seconded by Mr. Spacuzza. Any questions or comments on any of these items? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those items carry 9-0. Facilities and Services Committee, and Mr. Spacuzza.
Thank you, Mrs. Cook. Seeing 3 items, I'm going to move each of these items separately. The first item I'd like to move is the renovation project at George Washington Elementary School. Second.
Item 1, under Facilities and Services Committee, has been moved by Mr. Spacuzza and seconded by Mr. Amidits. Any questions or comments on this item? I would just like you to, I was on the telephone for this meeting the evening that we went over this, and I could not hear well in this room the presentation. It appeared to me that we have gone beyond the scope of just HVAC, which was what I thought we were initially doing at George Washington Elementary. We are now getting into lighting, I believe, ceilings, things like that, and we're now hiring an architect to, I guess, draw up plans for something beyond just the replacing of the furnace and air conditioning. Could you just reiterate what
Sure.
exactly the scope of the project is at this point?
Right. The intentions of the project was always, the base was the HVAC renovation. That would be our some work on our boiler systems and replacement of all the unit ventilators in the building. But in the same stance as Neil Armstrong Middle School, as we do those renovations, we have to get into the ceilings and run our piping to the individual unit ventilators. So we saw an opportunity to go ahead and replace the old lighting that was in that room, in all the rooms, which is it's old T12 lighting, which is no longer being produced, or the bulbs are being produced. So we saw an opportunity to go ahead and do that, and so the scope did include that at the time. So we're looking at a very similar project to Neil Armstrong Middle School then. We're going to look at some carpet, since we're going to be in those rooms. There's a few rooms that have newer carpet, a few rooms that have older carpet, so we'll be looking at the carpet also. And then lights and ceiling tiles. We're still looking at ceiling tiles for the building also. So.
And I understand that, you know, we're just now getting the drawings for this, but are we, I guess, what ballpark are we talking about that this renovation would be?
Well, the Neil
I mean,
Armstrong.
I'm not going to hold you to it, but
sure, that's one of the services that Hayes is going to provide, is try to prepare a ballpark for the service. But Neil Armstrong was around 4 to 5, about around $4 million in construction costs, and we're anticipating this will be definitely less, probably closer to the $3 million number. Hopefully lower than that, though.
Okay. And where are we planning to get those funds?
These will be capital reserve funds.
Capital reserve. Okay.
How much do we have in the capital reserve now?
Currently, today we have about $7 million in capital reserve funds.
So that'll be about half of it?
Yes. And we'll probably ask, you know, in the future, the next renovation out of that would be for Ben Franklin.
Ben Franklin, right.
Yes.
I knew that we were.
And that'll probably, you know, be in the same ballpark. Same type of renovation.
Can you address for us, while you're talking, the age of the boiler that we're going to be replacing?
The boiler is actually okay at Washington. It does need probably some new burners, so I think all we're going to do is replace the burners in the boiler system. It's probably only 15, 20 years old. 20 years old. But the units are over 20 years old. The individual unit ventilators there in each room are over 21 years old. And if you would look at our maintenance work orders, they consume a lot of our work orders, and they're operating very inefficiently.
Are we still planning to do in-house work on this, or now not?
There will not be any in-house work in this.
Does that leave, do we have any of the other elementary schools that are going to have needs like this that you foresee in the next 3 years?
I think after this, there probably there are some needs, but I think that they're on a much smaller, they're not in the $1 million range needs after that.
Other than
So-
Franklin.
Other
was
than
pretty on-
Franklin,
Right.
yes.
Right.
Franklin has the same situation as Washington, where it has unit ventilators that we need to replace out of there.
The other ones will be okay. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
they
not
have,
as
the
great.
other ones have units, roof units that we've been doing in-house. For example, Memorial, we've been working on those in-house. IMS has another unit that we're working on soon. And then there is another unit up there that, another $400,000 or $500,000 unit similar to the one we did a few summers ago in
On the
Turner.
roof there.
Right.
You're saying that IMS, yeah.
So these
You
are
know, I
pretty
think
much-
once we do I think we can do all of the, smaller units, but once we get into the larger units, that's when we seek some outside help.
So this should pretty much deplete our capital reserve fund then, these two projects.
Well, we will maintain all the balances that we've been saving for, absolutely, and,
Would you just do a recap of those programs that we are putting funds aside for, such as?
Sure, we're currently putting aside money for turf. We're putting $80,000 a year away for turf. This is the 8th year for that. So we have about $640,000 there, and then this is the band uniforms. The band is the music department is working with us to put $15,000. I'm sorry, $5,000 a year away for that.
And is that included in the $7 million?
That is included in the $7 million number.
Do any other board members have any questions or comments on this item? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That item carries 9-0. Mr. Spacuzza.
I move item number 2 under facility and services, the renovation of the administration building.
Second.
Item 2 under Facilities and Services Committee has been moved by Mr. Spacuzza and seconded by Mr. Means. Any questions or comments on this item?
I have a question, please. Is there any chance that we could lower the numbers as far as the furniture, either looking for something else or skipping it altogether?
Well, the one room of furniture is for our new conference room. So if we skip that altogether, we wouldn't have any furniture in a conference room. So we wouldn't be able to do that. The other there's another, I think $5,000 that's associated with some new desks, 2 new desks, and we felt that they are needed. The desks that we're replacing are in bad shape, and A, they're in bad shape, and B, we need them to fit the scheme that we're preparing for. So,
Thank you.
so I think we cut that way back from the original amount, and we're going to reuse all the file cabinets and a lot of the desks that we had. So.
Yeah, can't find anything else you can reuse, hon. Cut it down a little bit more.
I believe the desks that are back there now, those 2 that need replaced, were rescued from the buildings, the old high school buildings.
Right.
Correct? Okay.
So what are you getting beside the desks for this amount of money?
We're going to get
Conference?
some desks. We'll be getting desks and a conference room table and conference room chairs.
For $11,000.
Yes. 2 desks, conference room table, and boy, I think there's 12 chairs, 12 conference room chairs. I think there's a credenza in there for the conference room, and I think the only other piece is a new printer. We need a printer stand.
Oh, so there's a lot more than just that furniture. All right. Because I couldn't see the conference table, and, I mean, I bought conference tables
Yeah,
and
it's
chairs.
all chairs. The chairs also. So it's conference table
Yeah.
and chairs.
Plus printers, plus.
No,
Printer
just
stand.
a printer stand, and I think there's for the conference room furniture, there's a credenza.
And this was this the best bid from this particular company?
This is off-state contract, so
Mhm.
we bought this off-state contract.
I know it's not a whole lot of money, but I got to tell you, when I opened my packet and I read through all of these, I just felt like I was spending. I really don't think I can support this one. Any other questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Aye.
do a roll call.
Yeah, let's do a roll
Right
call.
here.
You got me too?
4 noes.
You
wanna
better do a roll call, Donna.
Yeah, do a roll call.
vote?
Mr. Amidits?
Yes.
Mrs. Buckley?
No.
Dr. Campbell?
No.
Mrs. Cook?
No.
Mrs. Dovas?
Yes.
Mr. Means?
No.
Mrs. Rule?
No.
Mr. Schubel?
Yes.
Mr. Spikuza?
Yes.
The motion fails 5-4.
Thank you. Mr. Spikuza.
Third item on the agenda, I move the purchase of the district truck for the maintenance department.
Second.
Item number 3 under Facilities and Services Committee has been moved by Mr. Spikuza and seconded by Mr. Amidits. Any questions or comments on this item?
No, we discussed this a little bit in the committee meeting, but please elaborate again. We seem to have a truck brought up on 4 to 6 month intervals that need to be purchased. The need for a $55,000 truck and its use, please.
Why we're buying?
Oh, well, we currently have a truck about the same size, a little bit smaller than this, that we use for plowing. It is basically limping along right now, and it probably won't make it through the winter. If we have a bad winter, we'll probably have to have school cancellations because we're not going to be able to plow. We still have other plows, so.
How many plows do we have, would you say?
I'm guessing 6 or 7 probably.
And what all do we plow besides parking lots? Do we have roadways that we plow or just parking lots?
I'm sure there are roadways.
There are roadways that we plow?
I mean, not all of them. I think the municipality does Black Hawk Drive, and I think they do the loop at Neal,
Okay.
but everything else is ours.
Again, I think we need to get a better handle on what we have, what they're used for, and kind of expected life expectancy, and have some sort of a plan. I agree with Dr. Campbell. I feel like I'm seeing a vehicle of some sort, whether it's a van, a truck, a plow, I don't know, but coming up every so often. Now, I understand something can catastrophically.
Sure. We did go over this in the budget process,
Okay.
this particular.
This was the truck that was.
We have
Right.
this listed on, okay.
It was in the budget process.
So, but can we kind of tighten a plan so that the board feels comfortable that we have, as we do with our buses, you know, we have an idea of how they're going to cycle through. I understand, you know, we don't have to hold to it rigidly because obviously vehicles are different than, some of these vehicles would be different than buses, but again, I think the board, our level of comfort with just seeing these, and we don't have any clue. You tell us, I mean, this vehicle has 53,000 miles on it, okay? To me, that's not a vehicle that I'm ready to say isn't going to be able to work any further. But again, you're telling me it has a plow on it, and that makes it a different sort of a vehicle and what it has to do. But
there's a big difference between.
You have to understand, we are lay people, and majority of the time looking at this, and we just keep seeing trucks and vans and things come up.
We do have a plan for replacing maintenance vehicles.
All right, we do.
But it's kind of different than the buses. The buses, we like to keep rotated.
Right.
Our
And we
maintenance
sort of know
vehicles,
money-wise too, when we budget, you
Yes.
tell us, okay, we have to replace 6
Maintenance
buses in
vehicles,
this
on the other
cycle.
hand, we don't replace on a certain cycle. We run it until it's done. And then we budget the next year to replace those. We do have a cycle that we go by a little, somewhat.
All right.
But if the truck's okay, we're not gonna
Then you push it for
replace it.
another
We'll
year,
just,
so you
we push those until they can't repair them anymore.
All right.
So that's what we do with that, and that's what's up with this truck.
All right.
Mrs. Cook, I'd like to comment on that. I think that you can't look at the mileage of a vehicle that does this type of work. I mean, you know, you can drive your car on the highway for 200,000 miles, and it's not a big deal. But when you drive a truck this hard, this often, short distances, it takes much more wear and tear on the vehicle than you're going to do with a longer term type of vehicle.
I appreciate, and that's what I was hearing, but yet I'm seeing,
No,
when I
it's
see
the- it's the
53,000
truth.
miles, I say,
2 questions, please. Is there any chance that there are bells and whistles on this $55,000 that could be eliminated to bring the price down?
I don't think there are any bells and whistles on
Okay,
it.
I don't know, that's
It's,
why I'm asking.
It's a crew cab rather than a single cab, and the reason we got the crew cab because when they do work in the summertime, they have to make 3 or 4 trips to bring all the people with them. So it's difficult to use a truck like that in the summertime. In the wintertime, it's not a problem because usually they're plowing by themselves. In the summertime, it's a big problem because we need to haul the people with them.
Okay, and as far as the truck we're replacing, I know how many miles it has, but how many years did we have that truck in working order?
I believe it's probably at least 10 years.
Yeah,
We're gonna.
I think he said.
It might be an 01. We're gonna keep that truck. We're not gonna sell it or trade it in. We're gonna keep it for a spare in case one of our other trucks go down during the winter.
And where are we going to park this truck?
It'll be parked over at the bus garage.
Buzzy, this is a new vehicle, full warranty.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. In considerations of used vehicle, not entertained here?
We did not look for a used vehicle in this situation. The big truck that we bought a year or 2 ago was a used vehicle by the municipality. Yes.
Any other questions or comments on this item? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
That carries 8-1. Finance Committee and Dr. Campbell.
Madam President, mercifully and fantastically, we only have 6 items of business from the Finance Committee. Would any board member, director wish to have any of the items held out?
Do you want to hold out number 5?
Number 5 will be held out. Hearing none other, then I move that items 1, October 2014 salaries and bills, number 2, September 2014 financial report, number 3, budgetary transfers, number 4, approval of student services contract, and number 6, approval of the E-rate consultant be approved by the board.
Second.
Items 1 through 4 and 6 under Finance Committee have been moved by Dr. Campbell and seconded by Mrs. Buckley. Any questions or comments on any of these items?
I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
Item number 6, I don't know how to say her name. It's Ms. Creed, is that correct? I understand that she has a particular skill at writing contracts, and she will more than pay for herself in terms of the amount of money she's able to bring back in the district. Okay.
Okay, I believe it was to the tune of over $100,000 if I saw right.
Are we not using the AIU because they have an E-rate consultant?
She is the
Okay, so you are, that's what they're charging you? Okay. Okay, I didn't know her name, okay.
Any other questions or comments on these items?
No, ma'am.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those items carry 9-0. Dr. Campbell.
Item 5 has been held out and is moved to the board for approval for purchase of student information services.
Second.
Item number 5 has been moved by Dr. Campbell and seconded by Mr. Amidits. Any questions or comments on this item?
I have big concerns or big questions on this too. We had the presentation for this, the committee meeting this past Tuesday. We had 10 student or teacher champions who really kind of did a lot of the just due diligence with research and due diligence with really vetting a number of programs. This program, the Student Information Services, eSchool Plus, would actually replace, I think it was 4 different programs that we currently have that really could not talk to each other. Director Means and myself brought concerns about the security of this program. In it it's just almost draconian as far as the information that's held in it. Student discipline records, medical records, certainly student grades, demographic information, which I had great concerns as far as security was concerned. And when I left the meeting, I really can say that I felt like a lot of my concerns were assuaged. Having said that, our technology information Hefe, Ron Ryer, Hefe. I'm going to Guatemala on Friday or Saturday, but he produced a 14-page document that basically answered all my concerns across the board. You know, we heard that some of the information be stayed in the, stored in the cloud, and I was quite worried about what that meant, knowing that cloud security isn't necessarily 100% foolproof. But I was concerned also about the liabilities of the district if we had a breach in our data along those lines. So I had those concerns assuaged by reading the information that Mr. Ryer brought to the...
All 13 pages?
All
14 pages.
14 pages.
Was your head spinning when you got done? Because mine was.
I'm still having, yeah, that's what nitroglycerin's for.
Yeah.
So with that, I've had that considerably tempered my angst. Let's put it that way.
Mr. Mead?
I just wanted to say, yeah, I think there is reason to be concerned. I mean, nothing's foolproof. NSA was hacked into, but I mean, our own system here isn't foolproof either. So, you know, if we can get the same level of security there as we have here, it's no loss. The other thing that I would have, we have 4 different systems here, and it would seem to me that that would make the opportunity to break into a system or lose a password or something much more likely than one single system. Do you concur with that, Mr. Ryer?
We do have your exposure with our current setup right now, yes.
I'd just like to say that I was studying the numbers, and going from the 4 programs down to 1, we in essence are saving money. But what really sold me on it, Mr. Ryer, was your report. I was totally impressed. So when there's ever a question about this, call Ron. Thank you.
Right. No, it's no small piece of change. It's $375,000 over 5 years. That's a lot of Chromebooks. You know, that's a lot of band uniforms, you know. But I see the advantages of it as the connectivity, you know, letting the systems talk to each
Absolutely,
other.
that they all can, yeah, because right now when one can't, I think our teachers don't feel using one system when it's not coordinating with another system is not making their life any easier, and I think this system, and we have a rollout plan in mind of how we will in-service the teachers on the new program so that they will ease into it, and so hopefully we get the buy-in that we would expect and want.
Yeah, this being a K-12 decision with the Teachers Committee involved, I think that's the way to go. So thank you all for a job well done.
Any other questions or comments on this item?
One other comment, I made this before, but I'll make it again, is a system like this is of no value whatsoever, no matter how good it is, if the people who are using it don't like it. If this is what the teachers use, if it can encourage them to provide more information, better control on student attendance and things like that, I think it's worth it. Yeah, I think it's a win-win situation all around.
Yeah, just one other comment too. I think the end user, the parents, are going to benefit greatly from this system because it's going to eliminate a lot of duplication in their lives and make them want to do this more so than to think of it as a project. And I think that'll go a long way in making it a success.
We have heard about this as I sat on PTO committees and all the way up to now being on the board of, can't we get away from having to fill out 4 forms on every child and every year, and you know, so this is, I think that's a win-win. I agree. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That item carries 9-0. Mr. Amidis, would you take other for me this evening, please?
I will. There is just one item under other. It's student agreements. So I move number 1 to read the Board of School Director approves the administration's recommending to approve the following resolution for agreement for student number 002578.
Second.
Item number 1 under other has been moved by Mr. Amidits and seconded by Dr. Campbell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 9-0. We are now to the portion of public comments on anything you wish to address the board on. You have 2 minutes for your comments at the microphone. Give your name and address, please.
We typically don't answer questions, but just to clarify for the public, there was some concern about the timeline in which the band directors could implement the program, so they asked us to hold it for the time being.
Thank you.
Seeing no one else, I'll move into board comments. And Mrs. Dobus?
I have none.
Mr.
Makes me
Means.
first. I'd like to congratulate all the people on their achievements. It was really almost mind-boggling to look at all the people who had achieved such high honors on the advanced placement test, and I think that really speaks well of our educational system. And here we are in the football championship, so go Hawks.
Thank you. Mrs. Buckley?
Thank you, Mrs. Cook. I noticed, I was watching the clock, we spent over 33 minutes this evening acknowledging all the wonderful things that are going on in Bethel Park, and it's the way that we should go about things and making everyone know about all the great things that are going on. And also for you to mark your calendars for Wednesday, November the 12th at 7:30, we'll be having a curriculum meeting. So Wednesday, November 12th, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Spicuzza?
I'll keep my remarks brief because I don't want to lose what's left of my voice. Thanks to Mrs. Stark's report, I think she just drug it to me and helped me. I had the opportunity to attend the class of 74's 40th reunion over the weekend, and on Saturday, Officer Modrak and Brucker gave a tour of the high school to the students who had grown up on the campus, and I would have to say that they were quite impressed with the results and what is our new high school. And congratulations to those students, ex-Bethel Park students, for making 40 years.
Yeah,
And it was just a really good event, and I thought it was really great that they were able to get that opportunity. And I'm going to stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Rule?
As far as Shasta goes, Steel Center, Steel Center had a feasibility study done, and they now are looking to go ahead and implement a program for welding and metal fabrication at Steel Center, because it's a much needed vocational training. So that was exciting news to hear from Steel Center. Through the Allegheny Intermediate Unit, I attended a state conference for 2 days, and during that conference we really had some excellent speakers, and one of the speakers addressed the career track, and what they are looking at is that they are looking to bring in some AP classes for the Career Center. So eventually those credits then will also be able to be used for college, and they're looking at a degree that would be designed for technical career studies. So, and that's already being done in the middle of the state. They're pretty far along. That particular career school also has their students building a housing plan, actually building this housing plan. And what the career schools are finding is that these students need to be having the application during their training, so that I think eventually you're going to see maybe all-day career type schools that will, prepare these students for a lifelong vocation, and that they will be applying and their academic standards, they will be meeting all of it. And I don't think that's too far away, because there are a couple of schools are pretty much on their way. During that conference, the state has taken a stand for the first time. They met with our legislators and our senators, and they have built a platform that's very concise. And in that platform, they've built specific areas that they would like our representatives to work on in the next coming year. And they include things from the mileage that our buses, that we would be reimbursed. They are looking at the teacher contracts. They are looking at the testing, and safety issues were like their primary goals. And they're very specific, which will help our representatives better understand and better focus on what some specific needs are, as opposed to the whole education picture. And then we have a group that's looking at funding reform, and they have invited the business people in, as well as some of your nonprofit groups, and your education associations to look at how schools are going to be funded. And it's probably going to be looking at educational reform and everything, because efficiencies go into that too when you're looking at funding. So that's going to be real interesting to see how that moves along. And during that conference, we had 3 different speakers that were really excellent. One speaker was a consultant who traveled around the world, and she would meet with students that we had here in America that traveled abroad to schools. And she particularly focused in on Finland and Korea, and I can't remember what the other country was. It was one of the smaller countries like that, and they were like at the top of the educational list. And she would interview our students and interview their students, and they asked what did they find were the biggest difference in the education, because it costs a lot less to teach in those countries. And the students all said sports. We focus too much on sports. That's what all the students were saying. And she said she was kind of really surprised. And I said, well, that's where a lot of them get their scholarships. But that was what most of the students said, that we put too much emphasis on sports. But, and they didn't seem to be as stressed about not meeting their educational goals, even though they ranked very high, but they didn't seem to be as stressed out. And whereas our students were really stressed that they, had to keep striving. It seemed more difficult for them. But she had several good things and to speak about, and I wish we could have gotten her book, but she definitely opened up a lot of areas for discussion. We had another speaker who who taught a 6th grade class in Nevada, and she had always told her students that you can do anything you want to do today. It's up to you. So her students wanted her to run for president. She was relieved to know she wasn't old enough, so she came back and told them, and they asked her, they had a vacancy in the House, and they wanted her to run for the House. These 6th grade students ran her campaign. She actually, and Harry Reid even called her and wanted to know, what are you doing in the race? You have $7,000, and our other candidate has $105,000. And she said, because my advisors, and she always talked about her advisors, they were the 6th grade class. And it was amazing, like they designed all her political materials, and their insight as to how she worded things was really, really interesting. And they have all year round school. They teach 3 months and they're off a month. But she said it was really an exciting adventure. No one could believe her 6th graders ran her campaign. They were always her advisors. And the last speaker was a Harvard professor, and he talked about how much technology has impacted our lives, and that we've got to realize that we've taken away the powers from all of our major players just by the use of our phone. It's in in our children's hands, and all of the major power that resided in these major players now no longer exists because you have the power to get most of your information. And he said, I just had one side comment. He said, so many of my students keep leaving blanks on their applications, and Google was one of the ones that brought it to his attention. He didn't understand why they weren't filling out 2 areas, home phone. The students were saying, we don't have home phones, cell phone. The other thing was email address. We don't have email addresses, we use text. And they were saying how we have to even start looking and start thinking about how these students come along, what they're used to. There are some things that we have to take for granted, but we need to change. And even at the higher levels, they didn't catch some of those things. But it was really a good conference, and several of the workshops came away with a lot of good information.
Mr. Schubel.
Thank you. Recently, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's a local real estate agent, and he was telling me about the housing market in Bethel Park, in the so-called starter area, the affordable housing area, which Bethel's always been known for. He said it's a very hot market right now, and their company had asked some of the buyers why Bethel Park, and they cited in no particular order the school district, the safety of Bethel Park, and also the new high school specifically. And I thought that was very revealing in light of an enrollment picture here, which is somewhat flat and declining, and we have concerns about that Bethel Park is on a map for young families to come here and lay down their mark because of our schools. So I just wanted to relay that to the community. I think it bodes well for our district. Thank you.
Yeah, and I noticed, I think I emailed the board, I saw signs, for sale signs on homes, and now at the bottom of the sign, it'll say Bethel Park School District. So they're actually advertising that the home sits in the Bethel Park School District as the selling feature of the house.
There's a particular case where a starter home sold in 5 days to a young family, which is remarkable. And I think it just portends so well for the district moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Campbell.
I'd like to springboard on Mr. Schubel's comments that I'm a believer in American exceptionalism, but I'm a believer in Bethel Park exceptionalism as well, specifically because we, not only from a state level, but also national level, look what's transpired recently. I mean, Dr. Gisanti, his great work with principal throughout the whole, best principal throughout the whole state, that's incredible. Reno's, service just recently, here within Bethel Park, that was courageous, incredibly courageous. And then, from a national level, we can't forget about Bethel Park hockey teams. Great strides nationally this last year. Looks like our football team's on the way to a championship. That also is remarkable. So I just think that's a reflection of really what's going on in this community. I've said this many times. I'll say it again, Dr. Stark. Your monthly report is just one of my favorite parts of this meeting. When it's like hit parade up on the big screen. Where we get to hear time after time. Not only the exceptions, like with all the AP honors and the scholarships that took place, but look at too from like the music programs, the plays that are being put on, the academics, the athletics. It's the whole enchilada. It's everything all kind of wrapped in one, and I think that's a unique experience. That's exceptionalism in every sense of the word. We really do, I think, provide a first-class educational experience in Bethel Park, something our community should be proud about. And according to Mr. Schubel's real estate report, I think it just reflects that as well. So I just want to say, the students, the teachers, the paras, the administration, the parents, I think just, there's plenty of love to go around for everybody for that. So I just think we have a good thing here. We need to keep it going. We need to foster that and fuel it for the future as well.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson.
How can I add anything to that? No further comments. Excellently said.
Well, I'm going to take the time to have a little personal comment, because when Russ asked me if I wanted to say anything at the mic, I couldn't quite formulate the words at that moment. But tomorrow will be 1 month that my mother passed away in my arms, and I just want to thank everyone in the school district family and my Bethel Park community family for the words, the thoughts, the prayers, and all the kindnesses that they have extended to my family and me during this most difficult time. It's just a wonderful community to live in and wonderful people to be associated with, and I thank you all. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everyone.